Hello there, brothers and sisters. I'm writing this story from far away in my mind. Thing is, I am an evil person now, worse than the worst, and most definitely worse than my brother, which I will get to in a second. I must confess, I killed about 150 people, and I lost count of how many exactly I have killed. I stopped caring. Let me tell you a story before my killing spree, and you must listen carefully and realize that I am not to be blamed for the lives I've taken. One night, I was sitting on our porch outside, and my brother came to me. "Elliot, we have to talk," said my brother, and I knew what this conversation was going to be about. "Fuck off, I don't want to talk," I said, already angered by his voice appearing in my ears. "Don't make this difficult, brother. You know that I don't like this either, but we have to help father. He demands us to," said my brother while knowing that I couldn't refuse my father's commands. "Come on, we'll run away from that bastard one day, but we must obey him for now," said my brother, confident that he could play my father's game. "Brilliant idea, brother. Tell me, how come that we can't run away right now?" I asked, clearly judging his lack of planning and his absurd reassurance. "Because he is ahead of us, and because we're a shit ton of luck," said my brother. "If we're a shit ton of luck, then why can't we just kill him instead?" I asked, still debating my brother about what we should do next. "You haven't seen what I've seen, brother. You have to trust me. Have hope in me," said my brother, but I didn't take his word for granted. The only reason I followed my father's rules was because my brother told me to, and I believed in my brother more than in my father, since I knew that he wasn't resentful and malevolent like my father was. You can never trust people like my father. They belong in hell for their absurd expectation of the world becoming what they envisioned. Now, you all must be curious about what my father's rules were exactly. And it's no biggie, I'll tell you. But first, you have to know another thing about me. I grew up with my father and my brother. My mother died when I was roughly 3 years old, and my father was responsible for her death. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that I didn't have much support for my whole life. My brother cared for me somewhat, but he had his own dreams and sexual needs. He fell in love with a girl once, and father killed her because she was not good enough for him, and because he was not good enough. Funny, right? He was weak, and I was my father's favorite, but not because I was his son, but because I had the potential to be just like him. His ideology ran in the family, and it was righteous in his own mind. You may find out what his rules were now. Hear this, brothers and sisters. My father had formed a pact with the devil himself, and he ordered my brother and myself to kill people for him so he could become Satan's number one demon. Apparently, the devil has many demons like Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, who were horrible human beings, and they provided him their evil and their souls. My father wanted to be on the top, and above the worst of the worst. All of our murders counted as his influence, and we were his little devils, little good demons. He killed over 5,000 people, plus my 150 and my brother's 100. All we had to do was kill for him, and he would feed us and keep us alive. Running away from my father was impossible since good old Uncle Satan was supervising us wherever we would go, and we had no choice of running away and staying alive. We'd go to hell anyway, and the devil would think that we had betrayed him and our father. I didn't know too much about this while I was killing people for him. All I knew was that my father was working for someone, and it was a hell of a ride till now. I found out about our Uncle Satan, but my brother couldn't take my whining, so he took me outside to show me what our father was doing. Our house was Our house had a backyard, and we had a little shed at the very back of it. We went to the shed, and my brother appeared as if he knew what he was about to see, but he wasn't. Neither was I. My brother slowly opened the shed door to show me what my father was doing, but he stopped in his tracks midway opening it. He was peeking through the barely opened door for a second, then he rapidly backed away from it. "What is it?" I asked, completely intrigued by his reaction. "Elliot, don't look," said my brother, but I couldn't listen to him. I pushed him to the side, and I opened the door a little further to see what our father was hiding. But when I did open the door, all I wanted to do was erase my knowledge of the situation. Brothers and sisters, what I saw was completely traumatizing, even for me. I saw Satan and my father doing the dirty stuff, the in and out. Satan was smashing my father, and all I could do was stare and wonder why I was there, killing for my damned father. My brother and I ran away into the house without our father noticing us, and we had a pleasant conversation about what the fuck we had seen. "Nathan, what the fuck was that?" I asked my brother, half angry and half terrified. I didn't feel like he mumbled my brother, no context of what he had seen. I slapped him, and I asked, "What the fuck is our father planning, Nathan?" "We have to kill him. We have to kill him tomorrow," said my brother, and he went into his room, all messed up and depressed. We woke up in the morning and we had a quick discussion before breakfast. My brother had a plan, and we were going to kill him when his guard was down. We sat down at the kitchen table to eat, and we waited for our father to sit with us. After a few minutes, he came to eat, and he was probably hungry after all the nasty back and forth with the devil. "Children, we will eat for now, and then I have a huge task for you," said our father while looking at us with his demented, proud eyes. "And what would that task be, father?" asked Nathan. "Hold on, boy. We'll get to that after breakfast," said our father, calmly. Nathan got up from the table and he asked, "Would you like a knife for that steak, father?" "Yes, son. How thoughtful of you," said my father with a smile. Nathan went to the kitchen counter to grab a knife, and he came back running at my father to stab him, but his attempt didn't end quite that well. Our father got up from the chair, and he broke my brother's arm. "What are you doing, son?" asked our father, but Nathan didn't want to respond. "This is not how I taught you to behave. You have betrayed me," said our father while taking the knife that Nathan brought to him, and he stabbed him in the eye. Nathan screamed, but his suffering was brought to an end quickly after my father had slit his throat. I was just staring at the event in front of my eyes, and I didn't do a damn thing. After my father was done with Nathan, he looked at me and he asked me, "You're not planning to do the same thing, are you, Elliot?" "No, father. I will never betray you," I said, but I wasn't telling the truth, obviously. My father took a few steps towards me and he said, "You were always my favorite son, Elliot." He got down on one knee and he hugged me. That was my chance. I pulled out a knife from my pocket and I gutted my father like a pig. I had manipulated him to lower his guard, and I watched him die a slow, painful death. "Elliot," my father whispered before his inevitable and tragic death. I stood there, and both of them were dead. I was the only survivor in our family. The lone survivor.